Hey crafters, as promised, I am bringing you the next 10 craft ideas from 5-Minute Crafts, where basically I watched their yarn hacks video and now I am testing their crazy yarn crafting ideas. So let's jump right back into this. Alright, on to our next project. I don't even know what number we're at now. Too many to keep track of. Oh, okay, we're about to get to something that like freaked me out when I saw it. I was like, are you kidding me? Okay, but we're not there yet. Okay, this one freaks me out, okay? I'm not even gonna do it because it really bothers me. Basically, they make like kind of like a pom-pom where you tie in the middle, but then instead of fluffing up the sides to make like a rounded pom-pom, they brush it out with like a wire doll hairbrush, and then they glue it onto a pillow cover, and then they use a hair straightener to straighten it. And I don't know why, but something about it really like grosses me out. I feel like it's the kind of thing that you would find in like the attic of some abandoned home that like nobody knows what happened to the owner, and it's like covered in like moths and dust and dirt, and just, I don't know, it kind of freaks me out. I think it's just kind of weird looking. So we're not gonna try that one. Okay, this next one is actually kind of interesting, and we're gonna give it a whirl. So it's basically one of those projects where you blow up a balloon, then you take some string that's been coated in glue, and you wrap it around there, and then you let it dry, and you end up with this cool, you know, like string ball. But their little hack or whatever for this project is they take a needle with the yarn attached to it, and they run the needle right through the bottom of the container of glue. So then basically you just keep pulling it through. You know what, let me just show you. We're gonna try this one. I have no idea if this is gonna be a success or a flop, but we're gonna give it a whirl. Okay, so I've got my balloon, and I'm going to use this blue yarn for this project, and then here is my bottle of glue that I'm using. There's just a little bit in the bottom. I was looking up, the video says use PVA glue, and basically PVA glue, it has to do with the chemical structure of it, so I was making sure that Elmer's falls into that category. And then I found this really cool article that's talking all about the like chemical construction of Elmer's glue versus PVA glue. And it's really interesting, and I'm kind of nerding out here. Anyways, that doesn't matter for this. Elmer's glue is basically a PVA glue, so in theory this will work. So I'm going to run my blue yarn through the end of the needle. Okay, and so the theory is I have my yarn strung on here, and then I'm just gonna poke it through the glue bottle. Okay, actually that went through really easily. I really don't want to ruin this needle though, because I love this needle and I forgot I had it, and I got excited when I rediscovered it a few days back, and I'd be really sad if it gets like all gunked up with glue. Okay. Now I'm gonna pull through the bottle and I'm just gonna coat the... Okay, you know what? There's really like no glue actually coming out on here. I don't think this is gonna work. We're gonna try it anyway, so I should be able to like... Because in theory it's coating the yarn that's coming out with glue, except I think it's just like barely coating the outside. This, I'm just gonna call it here before I waste any more glue and any more yarn. This, big thumbs down. It looked cool in theory, but it looked too good to be true, and turns out it is. Maybe if you watered the glue down a little bit so that way it could absorb into the yarn faster, and so that we'd have a more, you know, grab to it. But the problem is like it's sticky to the touch, but it's not like so sticky. Like I'm holding it all in my hand here, and my hand is barely, like there's like no glue on it. Like I feel a little bit of wet and I can kind of squeeze it, but yeah, it's not actually getting the glue to come out of there. Okay, big dud. On to bigger and better things in theory. Okay, here's another project that I'm not actually going to try because, I don't know, I don't think there's any mystery. Basically what they do is they take a picture frame and they wrap it in yarn, and I don't know, I feel like, yeah, duh, that's gonna work. So there's not really a need to test that one, and I don't really want a picture frame wrapped in yarn. Don't know what I would do with it. So moving on. Okay, this is another one. Please don't do this, okay? There are so many problems, and I don't even show like the whole process here. Basically, they groom their cat, you know, with a little brush, and then they have this clump of cat hair. And then they start spinning it with their fingers, and they turn it into yarn, and then they knit baby booties out of it. Like, what were you thinking? Okay, so first of all, animal fiber. You don't just get a clump of animal fiber and instantly start doing the little twist out the yarn. You have to card it, okay? So first off, they didn't show the part where somebody, assuming this actually is cat hair, where somebody took this cat's hair and carded it. Like the poor cat and the poor person who was hired to be in this video, they were like, here, you gotta card the cat hair. Like, okay, do you know what cats do? Yes, they clean themselves, but they clean themselves by covering themselves in their own saliva, and they run around outside if it's an outdoor cat in the dirt in the yard, and even if they're an indoor cat, they crawl under all the furniture where you haven't dusted in years. Okay, so that's just kind of gross. And then they go through the process, the whole big hassle of turning it into yarn, and then they supposedly knit these little socks for a baby. Okay, another thing is, do you know how much yarn it would actually take to knit those baby booties? Because let me tell you, it would take a lot more than they got from that little lump from that cat. So that means there's probably multiple cats somewhere. The 5-minute crafts was like, oh yeah, we'll just keep grooming them. And then I just don't even want to think about it. Okay, but then I have to say this. Then they put it on a baby. Please don't put cat hair on your newborn child. Like, just don't, okay? Just promise me if you get one thing out of this video, it is don't crochet or knit or make yarn, especially not making projects for babies using cat hair. Okay, now that I've composed myself, let's go on to the next thing. Okay, so now here's what else I don't understand about 5-minute crafts, is in a lot of their videos they do the same idea like 3 different ways. Like we've already seen like 3 pom-pom ways, and now they're basically doing the whole thing with the balloon and the yarn that totally failed, except this time they're doing it in a bucket. And see, when I was first watching it, getting to the one where we pull the needle through the glue bottle, I was kind of wondering, because I was like, if that's such a great hack idea, why would the next time they do it, why wouldn't they use that same hack? Ah, see, I'm onto them. Okay, so they mix the water and glue together, and then she wraps it in that. Okay. See, that would work better than what I tried. You know what, I'm gonna try this using their mixture. Start with glue. Again, they don't say what kind. Oh, they add starch. Okay, starch is interesting. Glue, starch, and water. I'm assuming they mean cornstarch. I'm gonna get some cornstarch and some glue and mix a little bit in a bowl, and we're gonna try this. This will be like our take 2 of the previous one, and we'll see if the starch and the water makes a difference. Okie dokie, I've got my supplies here. I guess I'm gonna start by dumping out my glue and seeing how much glue I have left, because I really don't have much left in this bottle. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. Since I'm gonna be adding water anyways, I'm gonna pour a little bit of water in here to thin it out so it'll run out and I can get it out better. Now I'm gonna add a little cornstarch, and I guess the cornstarch is just gonna cause some kind of chemical reaction, make it thicker. Again, I don't know how much to use. We're just gonna dump some cornstarch in here. Wow, okay. And like I said, I probably don't actually have enough yarn for this, but we're gonna try this anyways. Okay, they did not prepare me for that part where I got it in. Okay, here we go. Okay, I guess I'm gonna let this dry and we'll check back in later on and see what happens with it. Alright, so here is our string ball. It feels dry. Again, this has been drying for like 48 hours. Just kind of push down there. Okay, I can already see the threads kind of separating. Well, it's kind of holding its shape, and some spots kind of aren't. But alright, not a bad plan. I think if I were to do this again, I would definitely need more glue, because like I said, I didn't have very much, but it's almost holding its shape. It's definitely a lot stiffer than it was. So I think if they had actually given measurements of how much of the starch and water and glue to use, I think it definitely would have worked a lot better. So we'll get this one in, I guess. But there is hope to make this one work. Okay, so next idea. This is again one I'm not going to do because I just don't really have a need for this. Basically, out of cardboard, you cut out a little template and then you wrap yarn around it. I don't know what the point is. They show it as like a baby mobile, but I feel like there's probably some weird health hazard way you know that you probably shouldn't use it as a baby mobile, like if the yarn gets undone or something, like, I don't know, I just feel like that's not a smart idea, and I don't have a need as an adult for little yarn covered stars, so I'm not gonna bother doing this one. I believe it works. Okay, this next one though, I have so many concerns with this. So basically, it's like they went along and they were working on their video and were like, okay, we're just gonna use these same ideas. Like, okay, we already know that they can make string art. We already know that they can make the yarn stiff with glue. And in the previous one, they just figured out that they can make shapes out of yarn. And then they got to this one and were like, we're running out of ideas. I know, let's throw all three of those ideas together. So basically what they do is they start off making what you think is like string art, where they nail the nails into the wood, but then they actually are going to make a yarn shape like they did last time, except this time they use the water and glue method to make the string stiff. So, okay, I have a couple other problems with it, okay? So first of all, again, I don't know what I need this for other than for maybe like an ornament, but I don't really need that. Second of all, they never actually show how they get it off the nails, because the nails all have a head in the video and they're in the wood. How in the world did they get those nails out of the wood without destroying their project? I don't understand. I have many questions because they never show that part of the process. I don't know. I'm just saying, you know. Okay, next idea. I'm going to save you a lot of hassle if you want to do this one. It's basically, they get out their Mod Podge and they coat this glass jar with Mod Podge and wrap yarn around it. Again, I don't really know why. I'm personally not a fan of this look, so I'm also not going to try this because I don't actually want the finished project and I believe that it will work. But an easier way is, instead of using Mod Podge and getting your hands all sticky, you buy this cat tape off of like Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. So basically what this tape is, it's a double-sided tape and it's like super heavy duty. So the thinking is, we actually did use this with our cats. You put it on like a door frame wherever they're scratching, and then because it's sticky, they don't like it. But you can also use it as like double-sided tape. It works great for the cats too, I think. I think it worked for the cats. But basically, instead of doing the whole Mod Podge painting and then wrapping the yarn around, just use the double-sided tape. It will save you a whole bunch of headache. I do know that this method works, and since I know that this works, I'm not gonna bother testing out this craft because I really don't like the look of the yarn-colored containers. That's just me. If yarn-wrapped glass containers is your thing, then go for it. Okay, the next idea is just basic string art. So this is where they draw a shape and then they put the nails into the wood and then they wrap it with yarn. Again, I've been there, I've done that. I don't really have the need to do another one. See, I've made string art before. Last and final one, and it kind of bothers me because this last one, they use rope, not yarn. The title of the video is 20 Truly Fascinating Ideas with Yarn. And they're using rope. I was just kind of sad to me. But we're gonna try this. So what they do is they get the string and then they like dip it in these containers. Except the thing is, you're left to wonder, is the container full of paint? Is it full of glue with food coloring? Is it full of like mustard and ketchup and other condiments? You don't know. But I'm gonna guess, and I'm gonna see if I can get this to work if I use yarn instead of rope, and if I use water with food coloring. Let me show you what we're doing. All right, so I've got my 3 bowls of water and I'm just gonna add a drop of food coloring to each of them. And in each of your food colorings, you put a section of yarn. Now they just magically dip it in and then magically pull it out and it works perfect. It's like totally coated in this stuff, but that's not happening here, so I'm gonna kind of push this under. My piece of paper, voila. And then take my string. I'm gonna squeeze a little bit out of here actually, which is not too bad. And I'm just gonna drape it on there like so. So then the next step is you take your paper and you fold it in half. And you press down. And while pressing down, you pull your string out from the bottom. And the thinking is it's gonna leave the dye behind and make these cool designs. But I don't know if that'll actually work or not. And so that's how we're testing it. Did I miss? Wow. Okay, so I'm thinking for sure food coloring is not what they used. Maybe they used paint that they watered down a little bit.
but I really have no way of knowing because they're not very clear on that. So I am left to wonder what they actually used.
This looks pathetic. Okay, like, let's be real.
They like get these cool designs that they frame. Maybe they did use paint,
but it's definitely runnier than like normal paint or an acrylic paint, and I feel like if you water down an acrylic paint, that wouldn't work well. So we're gonna call it a day and give this craft a big thumbs down. So there you have it. Just like that, we have tested 20 truly fantastic ideas with yarn. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this where I'm testing out different crafts and different hacks, definitely comment in the description below to let me know, and also give me a thumbs up so I know that my followers like this kind of video. I definitely had fun making this. There's definitely some projects that I will never ever try again, but then some of these, you know, like the pumpkin, I'll probably make some more of these when fall comes around. Might even make a little pumpkin garland. You know, some of them turned out pretty cool and actually were good ideas. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Crafters Autonomous, if you haven't already. And until I see you next time, happy crafting!